Welcome, guys. This is JD, the mobile trader, coming to you on the Mobile Trader Network. Today is Sunday, January 17th, 2021. We're it's in the year after COVID, but it's still COVID with us, man. But did the teammate come in too? Did my shortstopper come in here? M. Williams, did that Mac? We got Grambling represented in here. Jay Ford, Mac Williams. I think that's Mac. I hope it's the homie. Um, anyway, guys, thank y'all for coming out tonight. Let's get going. We're gonna get right into the mix. One thing I wrote down. I said we're at that point right now where there's no excuse for us to not be involved in the stock market in some fashion. Oh, you're not Mac? Okay, but still, how you doing, M. Williams? Nice, appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. But we're at that stage, guys. The barrier of entry has been lowered. That you don't have to have the $1,500 minimum account. We don't have to have you don't have to go through your broker, call them, and pay $50 one end and $50 on the buy and $50 when you close it out. You don't have to do it. The commissions have been removed, so we can even buy through Cash App if you have extra money hanging around. Pick out a stock. Not there's more to it, but sometimes just getting the ball rolling is something that's good and a good experience. It'll kind of break you in a little bit. Uh, one one thing that I like to say is always establish your investment time horizon before you buy your stock, whatever it is. Uh, you decide how long, plan it out how long you want to be in there. You have an exit strategy. You can say, I want to be in this stock for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, 16 years, whatever it is, you you establish that prior to purchase, and that will keep you from dealing with sell-offs and emotionally jumping when it's a natural sell-off or a natural pullback. The stocks ebb and flow. Right now on the screen, right now, what you're seeing is the QQQ. It's the ETF to the Nasdaq. It's like it mirrors the Nasdaq. I think the Nasdaq 100, mostly tech stocks. And right now, bullish trend, but we hit a little bit of a pause. I'm on a weekly chart. I'm going to get into some other things, guys. But this is one thing I pride myself uh, on is studying charts and understanding technical analysis. There's more to the game, but seeing charts coupled with other avenues of evaluating or assessing stocks will help us because you can spot things prior to moves, and you can't accurately predict things, but the probabilities come into play. And like right now with the Nasdaq, let me raise this up. I'm going to show you guys something, um, and a lot of other catalysts can come into play, but what we're seeing with the Nasdaq, somewhat of a distribution day. Like when you see the red candles, there's sell-offs. So we had a push up to a high of three, not the Nasdaq, but the Qs. So similar. Um, Push up to 319.39. Next day we're sold. We sold off for 2 days. Had a green day. Past 2 days, so Thursday and Friday of last week were distribution days or sell-offs, where we're basically either profit taking or possibly we're in somewhat of a trading range, give or take. I'm looking to see if the Nasdaq falls below, or if the Qs fall below 305.98. Look out. We need to watch out for a reversal, but we have some potential catalysts coming into the market on Wednesday with the inauguration of the Biden Harris administration, and I'm going to get into that. But let's be cautious of there are a lot of predictions of potential pullbacks at some point. You can't predict when, but be prepared for that to where if you I don't know if it's in your 401k, maybe start looking towards this is just no, not you, me. Look, I would look towards I took a lot of stuff off the table. I moved everything into bonds and close to cash as I could when we were coming around Rona. When the Rona, when Rona first hit, where let me see where that was. Back here. Because I saw something in BSI and it triggered my thoughts and I started, I rarely checked my 401k just like on a regular basis, but then I said, let me cash out because I was in a good position, got out of there and preserved a lot of capital. So not saying we're going to do that now but there might be a light pullback, but and it could be a buying opportunity. So the next thing I want us to do, guys, we're going to look in the mirror and decide to commit to a long-term investment plan. And the reason for that is because if you look back, a lot of people say, "Oh man, I don't understand this. I can't get into that. I'm not going to get into the stock market." Well, everybody's doing it. It's too easy. If you look, they talk about the stock market on every channel pretty much. They let you know what the Dow Jones is doing. They let you know what Bitcoin is doing. If you don't understand Bitcoin, it's time to study. Go to YouTube. Don't give me that excuse about I don't understand what's going on. There's too many avenues to figure it out because our children and our grandchildren need to have a way to sustain themselves without like check to check is not how it's supposed to be, and we can figure out a way. There's ways to do it, and we can establish it through life insurance, also through a nest egg. It's time to get started. And so the commitment is to education, whether it's going on YouTube or I'll type in this website right here, guys, and I use it all the time. I'm gonna type it in here. It's investopedia.com. It's a really good one. You don't need to pay money during the early process. You want to educate yourself early on to where when you do, if you decide to take a course or get a mentor, um, you'll come to that position in a more of a with a little bit more of an understanding, a foundation that's worth that makes it a little bit easier to train, to understand, to teach. So don't think it's going to happen overnight, but it's worth getting started. That's just my thoughts on that. So uh, we stay in touch with current events. We need to know what's going on in the market. I saw on Twitter today someone said, "Click like, raise your hand if you can say that you never followed uh, number 45 during his presidency on Twitter." People were raising their hand. I'm like, why wouldn't you follow him? He's a market mover. That let me know who was involved in the market right there. It's like I didn't raise my hand. At first, I wasn't following them, but I used to see a lot of investors would follow the president because he would tweet something and it would move the market, whether it's like with China or the Paris Accords, just anything. And you don't have to predict a move, but you just want to kind of know. Sometimes it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m. He would put a tweet out. You don't want to be caught outside, without knowing what's going on or see what the catalyst is. Now, if you're a trader, like I myself, a trade options, um, just like Mo Jackson, quite a few of us in here, you guys are traders or budding traders. We have to know what's happening in the market and things on the periphery as well that may affect volatility. That's one of the words. Volatility is one of the words that you need to understand to embrace uh, during if you're going to trade options because volatility pays us. And volatility means going price action, price movement more so than big swings, ebbs and flows, spikes in volatility are what options traders rely upon. And the last thing, we just look towards the future. We can't look to get into a stock to get out next week unless you're trading. If you establish, if you're getting into things as an investment, look 1 to 3 years out minimum, 5 years, because we have to have patience. And if you wait, if we look at the just getting into the QQQ. That's what this is called, the Qs or the QQQ. Uh, Boy, those Omega brothers are in this room, and I know the Deltas are gonna get hype with that. And then what the AKAs came back and said what it was Mother's Day, so y'all going at it across there. But anyway, if you hopped in the queues, what's that month? In March, at the bottom of the move, got in at 170 bucks, give or take. You almost tripled your money. I mean, you definitely doubled it. So it's well, not you hadn't doubled it, but it's it's a big run, guys. You've had a big run, and you just have to think. Imagine if we go out further. Let's go out 20 years. Even back here, when the price was down, the low of 28 bucks, 30 bucks, and you just put it in like 2009, 11 years ago, the man, you're making money. You put $1,000 into a position. Most recently, Maurice Jackson, and I, we put out a monthly report. It's called the Stock Scouting Report, and one of them was on cybersecurity. And one of our top picks was this company right here. We put it out in September, and the company Cloudflare. We're looking at the cybersecurity sector as one of the areas that's going to be an a sector that's going to be needed. You're going to need to shore it up, and you see it all the time: data breach, hacks, issues. We have to shore up those areas. So we wrote out a report. I think it was 20 something, 20 plus pages, 18 picks. Uh, 17 of the 18 picks were on the money, but this one returned 128% over uh, 95 days. So the September 8th was the entry, and the close was $32.94. And if we looked at just that day on the 15th at the close of 77.85, you put $1,000 in there, you're gonna net another 1,200. So you put 1,000 in, you walk back out with 2,200 plus dollars over that move. Not to say every stock does that, and this is not a buy, sell, or hold recommendation. These are just examples of moves that you can catch with picking up trends, also knowing what's going on in the market. So let me dive into something I really want to touch on. So Preston in there with Jay Ford. That's the bros right there. I just caught that. Um, let's go right to this, guys. There's this Kathy Wood. Everyone knows I like Kathy Wood of ARK Invest. They put out a white paper recently on the bad ideas report. These are industries like disruptive innovation is coming. Like think about innovation and disruption. It moves slowly and slowly because it has to fight headwinds, has to fight doubt. It has to fight ridicule when they say electric cars. You know, no, give me my diesel. That kind of thing. And it takes time, but when it reaches to that tipping point, it's exponentially catalyzed a moving into just new heights that you can't predict. And the way analysts right now are analyzing certain companies, they're it's Charlie Munger talks about inefficient markets. If you find something that is valued inefficiently, you can either take advantage of that by buying it at the lows or realizing that it's inefficiently valued, overvalued, and you can short it or you stay away from it, that kind of thing. Right now, Kathy Wood is saying these are the industries that could be disrupted. And I want you to kind of look at it and let me know what your thoughts are because I'm fully in full agreement with this. Physical bank branches, they're almost removing the tellers out of the bank branches right now. That thing is becoming automated. We have banks in our pocket right now. I don't have to go to the bank. If someone actually writes me a check, take a picture of it, upload it right there. I don't. My mom still puts stuff in cash and sends my son to the bank and drops it off, or she'll give us a roll of quarters. Because yeah, I still would keep a roll of quarters, man. But I hadn't. I don't think I touched cash in a minute, especially during COVID. I mean, now even okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with the joke. I have to. I'm sorry. Even when I go to the strip club, which I hadn't been, uh, you got to go to the one where they take cash out, or the girls have the QR code on the hip, and you put the phone up there. Nobody's touching cash anymore. That's a joke, guys. That's a little joke. But anyway, the point I'm making: physical branch banks or bank branches are going to be obsolete at some point, unless we need to, go in and get the loan. But there's also their innovation, like yeah, with Square, Venmo, they have more information on us than any bank could ever obtain because they know our buying habits, purchasing power, things of that nature. So I just think I'm big on that. I'm big on good one, Kylan. But brick and mortar retail, you saw the malls. We've seen all the retail strip malls when COVID hit. How it just everybody needed to be bailed out, which that's probably, certain things are going to come back, but commerce has taken over. We go to the next area. These are five of areas of disruption to where we need to be careful if you're in it. Linear TV. My son and my daughter, they never just watch like, hey, what's on? We would go home and watch the Cosby Show Thursday night. Leave baseball practice, run through the park, so I can get to Channel 5 or whatever, NBC. And where they're watching YouTube, they're watching streaming services. It's going to be Netflix, it's Disney, Apple, So let's look in the streaming areas, guys. If that's an area that you understand, research that a little bit more. And the link to this, to where you guys, if you guys want to try to find this report, um, just go ARK Invest. Well, let me see if I can get it right here. It's just ARK Invest. See if that pulls it up. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's copy that. I suggest that you guys go to this website and sign up for the mailing list, sign up for their newsletters, because Kathy Wood is an innovator. She was ridiculed in 2018 for saying Tesla was going to run to 4,000. It's surpassed 4,000 pre-split. But if they don't have the vision, and you don't have to visualize everything. It can be conspiracy, whatever you want to say, but thinking outside the box. If someone laughs at it, or gets frustrated, yeah, let me get involved with that, because if it pisses somebody off, like when I asked my mentor about Bitcoin, he got pissed off one. I was like, oh crap, I was already in it mining Bitcoin, but I knew it was going to take off. Then when somebody just gets really angry at something about that has, because they don't understand it, I would suggest researching that a little bit more. The next one, freight rail. This is the one where they say that they're talking about the electric trucks, the long haul trucks. Uh, so guys, look at Plug Power for the. You want to look at the battery sector too, the EV sector. Um, Plug Power is going to do the hydrogen batteries. Um, but just the idea of QS QuantumScape also is going to be one that's up and coming. It was a recent IPO, but the battery sector within the EV is going to be where we can find alpha, uh, not A5, but alpha, not ice. Um, it's going to be the the more efficient batteries. Um, that's where the EV sector guys are going to be able to separate themselves from that. So the freight and rail, they say, is going to take a hit because the long haul trucks are going to be able to possibly move the freight at a fraction of the cost. Traditional transportation, internal combustion engines are going to be displaced. That's going to lead me into my next topic, uh, by EVs. Now, and it's going to be, I mean, and then the Biden administration, you know, one of their first things is that zero emissions by 2050. 2050. So if we're thinking like, oh man, that's a long way away, but thinking these uh, lanes right here. For our children and our grandchildren, 2050 is just the beginning. So if we position ourselves in stocks that um, take advantage of moving outside of disruption, or getting on the same side of innovation, we'll position them in perfect alignment for moving into the future without having a lot of friction moving forward. So um, that's what I wanted to say about that. With traditional transportation, you're going to have EV, you're going to have autonomous driving. That's the next move. It's still little headwinds to that, because there's still, if you see people combating it or saying it's not going to happen, it's worth investing into that area. Tesla's the leader in that area, but also the majority, I mean, Ford, GM, Uber dropped the ball. Kathy Woods made that statement, but they sold their autonomous research sector to a small company. Well, I said small company, uh, a company that lithium batteries. There we go. PLL is one of them, but that's going to be in your in your back pocket, Fonsec. That's your research project. Find some lithium battery stocks for us. That's your project, your homework. And but it's I think the next move, guys, we're going to have to know about the traditional transportation. When they do autonomous driving, they're going to have that at the next Olympics. They're going to have those buses going around the certain sectors, areas, Olympic Village. It's going to be fully autonomous. So anything that touches on that, look into it, research it, and consider investing in it once you perform your own due diligence. Okay, guys, here's the next step. All right, we look for catalysts. Let me pull up the chart. Um, we look for catalysts. We look for, you know, headwinds, tailwinds, anything that can possibly give us an idea of maybe what's going to move. You can't predict the movements of the market. You can't predict the price levels, but we know something's going to be a catalyst. And the first day um, in office, President-elect Biden is set to sign, I believe, over six. What is it? Let's see. It's more than one executive order. It's going to be quite a few executive orders, but the one that I want us to pay close attention to is that he's going to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. And when I keep looking at what they were talking about with their first 100 days, and their what this new administration plans to do, every time I look down each paragraph, it talks about energy, energy, clean energy, uh, talks about zero emission vehicles. And the 2025 window is one of the times when they're going to do a milestone check. They want key milestones met by 2025. So whether we're in the companies that are moving forward in the clean energy, let's see if I have my list pulled up, guys, because I try to make baskets of stocks, certain baskets, and let's see, vehicles, autos, cars. All right, it's dragging a little bit. Yeah, that one higher. One more. Let me get it. Electric vehicles. There we go. Quite a few electric vehicle companies. You can play it via ARK. ARK has an autonomous driving section. Go to that ARK Invest website and just dive into it. Uh, Blink is one of the companies that does the charging stations. That's one of the places where, you know, you're gonna need a place to charge your car. You're gonna need a place to pull up and charge. So companies like Blink, I think SBE was one down here. Uh, Tesla, of course. Now, the executive orders will be signed on the first day, on the 20th. There's going to be a 30-day lag, pretty much, for the Paris Climate Accord to take flight. But I feel that that's going to, whether you feel that climate change or global warming is a hoax, or if it's a conspiracy, whatever you feel, that remove those I don't know, remove those thoughts from your mind and think of this. There's also a group out there that will respond or react to this, and it will move the market in some way. It'll move certain sectors. Um, it's going to move the electric vehicle market. I really feel that. The solar market, solar energy, clean energy, that's going to be one. I don't know when, we don't know when it's going to occur, but throughout this 4 year period, guys, this is one that I was looking at. I know you guys have some solar energy tickers. You can drop them in there. I think TAN is one that I've been tracking in phase since it was going into the S&P 500. It made a nice run, made some nice money. It's not done pulling back right now, but if I could, let me remove some of this, guys. I don't like my charts being messed up for y'all. It's not messed up. I mark up my charts with price levels, and it's very important to kind of assess that. And there we go. Let's move this. That's just a we hit a little peak, a little resistance and a pullback, and then really it's filling a gap. It may come on down to this is in phase. The high of 186.63 might fill that gap and dip into this area, and it might be a possible buy again. But let's see what tan looks like. That's a so and it that's the same red candle that in phase saw. So that sector, the solar sector, was hit Friday, profit taking, whatever it is, but that was a good fill right here. It filled the gap. Um, let's see one thing. TAN, the ETF, of course, is putting up charge. Good. Tesla, wow, wow, perfect. Perfect. I'm just checking out the chat. Thank you guys for that. I'm gonna put QS in here real quick. I was listening to a gentleman he's an engineer, focuses on battery power. People roll QS up, guys, and a lot of times on the when you have a new company IPO, it'll go parabolic. When I say parabolic, angle is straight up 90 degrees. When it hits 90 degrees, a lot of times people start buying it, and that's irrational exuberance. It can't continue straight up, and a lot of times it pulls back and settles back into it searches for fair price. Fair price may be, I really think there's another leg for it to go down to like 44.55, a little bit lower than that, right in there. It might find some support, but I'm going to let this settle down. But this is just a company that he mentioned that they were pretty good with their battery innovation. Um, but Biden has been really aggressive with his climate plan, guys. So clean emissions. There's a lot of tailwinds coming into the EV sector. So when you start researching that, pay attention to it. I want to talk about another company that's a sleeper. Can't give you guys everything. I want you to research it and find it on your own as much as you can. Let's see lithium EV. I think Fonseca asked about that. There's a couple. Uh, Albacore. I hadn't really gotten into this one, but it's overbought, but it's had a run. That's a lithium battery company right there. Let's see if PLL is one. Piedmont Lithium. That's a weird chart, but it's finding support. All the companies that have to do with that clean energy, new energy, that's the entire theme of what's going into office right now with Biden and uh, Kamala Harris. I think the idea is to get the smaller carbon footprint, zero emissions. Now, there's a company. This is what's going to go down. It's a global initiative. So, company, Neo is a company. I'd be careful with the Chinese ADRs until it's official that we've had a change in the administration. And so, let's be cautious if you invest in any company that invests in China or is from China, because there still might be a little rabbit up their hat, up 45's hat as he exits, and it needs some time to settle and reestablish a good working relationship overseas. Now, India, India comes to mind for me when we talk about zero emissions because I think their pollution level is extremely high and the streets are really crowded. Um, oh, thank you, Jamelin. Thank you, thank you. What's up, Ben? There you go, Fonsic. Okay. And Panasonic did that. Yeah, they did the deal with Tesla. If you can get the zero cobalt batteries, guys, you can write these down, right? I mean, and not to say to buy them. The idea is you write them down and continue the research. And if it fits your criteria, you make a decision and lay out your game plan. LAC's been killing for you. Let's see the Blue Wave, Jamelin. We have BAM, RKT. That was in our report. AWK plug, of course. Shout out to B Dillard plug, BIP, CLF, GWPH. Was I looking at GWPH? No, I wasn't. Uh, BIPC. And guys, there's certain things I have certain criteria for when I search for a stock that I want to invest in. I need a minimum of like 500 shares traded each day, minimum. I'd prefer over a million. I want liquidity. I want I want it to be ready to move. Uh, and break down, Dave, the steel infrastructure. I don't know the connection with that. I guess maybe with when building if you can type that in, man, a little more context on that. But guys, back to India. There's like I found a company, and I'm building a position in this company. They sold off last week, but Arkimoto, very small company, very small cap, but their volume is enough. It fit the criteria, and they're a three-wheel. Uh, they're an electric vehicle maker, a niche maker out of Canada. Niche, I say niche, because they're three-wheeled vehicles, but they call them first mile and last mile vehicles because when places are overcrowded, there's times that paramedics can't get through with a large size ambulance or whatever fire truck, whatever they need. They said that smaller is better. People are saying that in certain areas. So the market cap is small enough for this company to even be overtaken by a larger company. So I invested in there. And I'm going to hold this for a good period. I'm looking to see how it goes over the next couple of years. But India is overcrowded, and the pricing for cars. If you can get a car down to a certain level, you can expand your customer base. And I think FUV or Solo may be a possible target for India, because Tesla has just not target, but Tesla's made some really good inroads in India. I think I don't know about the factory, but I know there's some news to where they have connections on ground in India. So that's going to be an area of a possible catalyst also for Tesla, even though that price it may look high right now, and there's going to be time for a pullback, but I still see some long term. I'm bullish on Tesla, even if we get the pullback. There's a pullback, man. That there's a gap down in the 419 area that it could happen. But right now, this next week, I'm looking for. I have a pennant, bull flag. I'm looking for a push as we move into earnings on the 27th of January, and I'm looking to either possibly be partially out or fully out. I might hold it depending on what type of profit I'm in. I may hold through earnings because I have some March options. Um, so we got the global emissions covered, historic investment, clean energy, cannabis sector, TLRY. I'm in Aurora right now, Aurora Cannabis. We're expect, we can say it should do this, it will do this. We don't know, but over the next few years, I feel that cannabis may receive some positive results because I mean that it's been a nationwide movement to move from uh, illegal to medical to medical to recreation, recreation and medical. You know, so it's the doors are opening up, uh, and the next headwind is that needs to be encountered is what is it? Schedule one narcotic is still listed like with narcotics like heroin and heroin and cocaine. So I think if they get that taken care of, this sector is going to break out. And if we back out just a little bit, let's go to the weekly. A lot of the cannabis stocks look like this, coming off their highs, you know, from those years, and then building a base. When you don't see a lot of changes and you see just a kind of like it just stays in the same area, that's a base being built. And what we look for is a base breakout. And accumulation occurs down here. We have some big volume spikes picking up, and I see if Tilray has a base being built as well too. Um, and I'm sure there's some other ones that you guys are looking at. I would pay attention to it and just if you do establish the window for this investment, how long you want to be in it. You know. Uh, Next one. The idea is setting our children up, guys. You got to come up with those stocks that you feel that you can kind of incrementally build a position in. Dollar cost average. What kind of phone do you have? Anybody have an Apple iPhone? You know, Apple is trading like 126, 126 bucks. You can get the 127. You can get what is it? Incremental shares or fractional shares. Uh, People, you know, rocking the Nikes, the latest J's. That thing shot up from the 60s all the way up to 140. So you and if you say like, okay, man, it's too expensive now, there's also a way. It's called dollar cost averaging, where you can just slowly build your shares up. Like every month or every pay period or every other pay period, you put in $50 to $75 into your brokerage account, and then you pick your stock that that you've researched and that you connect with, and you build that position. And it's a step by step process. It takes time, and you can do it with the family. And and as that constellation, let's see CGC. Let me go stars first. Constellation. Yeah, Constellation hit that double top and sold back off, but all of them, man. Now there is a gap on Constellation right there. There's two gaps, three gaps. One, there's one, second. Doesn't mean it's going to be filled, but if there's any negative headwinds, anything negative, we can get that retracement uh, back there, and that could be that buying opportunity. You know, if it does pull back, and a lot of times, if you're a long-term investor and you're like, I'm out for 10 years, and it pulls back, and there's no negative congressional hearings or anything like that, it might be a time to assess like, okay, I'm gonna add to my position. Um, let's move a little forward. There's going to be okay. I'm reading out what Dave wrote in the chat. U.S. still is going to be a focus on stimulating the development of green cities. Okay, which will require more construction. Perfect. The construction industry is the biggest consumer of steel. More local government stimulation would mean more investment in. Okay, the infrastructure plan is in place. Thank you, Dave. And so that's X. Let's see what X looks like. Because X hit a bottom for a while, and it's coming off that bottom. And let's see what we're looking at as we go a little closer. Got a push up, go back. Got a little support at 19. And the price is not that bad. And it's like a double bottom right here. They might bounce off of that and fill that gap. Okay, good call, Dave. I'm not saying it's a buy, sell, or hold, guys, but it's something worth paying attention to. And there's even more support a little bit lower, even at 11. But I'm not saying it's going to get down there. But there's a gap to deal with, 1163. And in the past, let's see, I've seen this thing. We've had some steady declines at different times. So getting down to 1116, that wouldn't be that bad, or 1163 wouldn't be that bad to find another entry. So, okay, guys, for this upcoming week, currently the positions I'm in Apple. That's a long-term buy and hold. I'll tell you the long-term plays. Apple, Blink is a long-term buy and hold. Regeneron is a long-term buy and hold. Square, long-term. Tesla, long-term, but I'm also trading it right now. Um, I'm in Aurora in my Roth IRA for a long-term position, and I'm trading it right now um, with some call options, and I'm kind of waiting it out. I'm gonna wait it out to see what's going on. The next move, this was a mistake, not a mistake. The thing with AMD, AMD will pull back. You hop in on a nice setup. That's what I look for, and I look for an identifiable setup. But what I wasn't doing, I had too many open positions, and it's like, AMD is going to pull back. I'm cool with that. But AMD broke a level that it broke the 50-day moving average on me, and I was, let's see if I can get that on there. Let's put the fit, and it's a simple moving average, guys, and I pay attention to that. Um, Show the study. Let's put it as orange. Orange, as my cousin would say in Arkansas. You break the 50, that's telling me something, but and it could continue down and fill this gap. And I'm holding the bag, and I don't like being at a loss, but that was my fault on that move because I had it set up. I was in profit and I waited. So um, that's called bag holding when the trade goes a little longer than you have planned. Um, so my exit strategy, uh, yeah, man. But the thing about AMD, I have my time frame is I have some distance on that, man. I have some you holding the same bag, Fonsec? Yeah. Let's see. I might be down a couple of G's, 1900 right now on that, which that's at my limit. But I'm looking right here. I have 61 days to expiration, and I'm out of the money now. But it's 51,000 open interest in it. I got into it at a good position. It's just sometimes it happens like that. But what I did, I'm with you, Colin. That March gives me 61 days for this to make that move back in to get me back into respectable area. But I may be out of it on Tuesday. It might just really trigger me to exit. Uh, so the next play that I'm in, Nicola's short. I'm short Nicola. I'm I'm holding this bag because I've been shorting them since here, and since back when the news came. And if I had just stayed in, I, you know, I was in and out. So I'm just kind of watching this. There's a reversal. If it falls below this level, like that 1924, it could continue to fall. Um, with Square, I like Square's long-term prognosis of what they're providing. Um, but the trade for me is that Tesla trade that I'm in there. Walmart, I'm in Walmart in a March, some March calls too, and it's done the same thing that AMD did, and I kind of held it a little bit longer. It's not a big loss. right now, but I'll watch it because this is what it's called right now, guys. I don't have it mapped out perfectly, but this is a bull channel. It's a channel, and you don't sell at the bottom of a channel. You don't buy at the top. An identifiable channel. And I spotted this channel, and I was like, okay, let me get in down here, and I got it, and it fell below it, but I'm gonna watch this Tuesday and see if we can mount a comeback. So let's just see if we can. But other than that, if it falls below, there's a level right here that's my exit. The 142.30. It's not that far away, but I mean, it still hasn't breached that area. So I've established that. My only mistake that last week was AMD, but I still finished with the green week, and I'm happy about that. But you know, we'll see. Let me before we break out of here, guys. I don't want to hold y'all very long. Drop if you want to drop a chart, a ticker in the chat, and I'll take a look at it and let me know if it's for. Once you drop it in there, let me know if it's for long-term buy and hold, a trade, or what, and see if we can find something. But if not, um, I'm watching Ford and Apple, but I won't be. I'm not going to be trading actively. I'm just, and then Mo Jackson and I'll go be working on our fund. Eventually that's what we're looking to get going. So Dave, you got the January. Oh, good on the AMD. In phase. Okay, we'll go in phase and lemonade. Cool, refreshing drink. All right. In phase, I was in there on that the S&P play. I liked it. I still like them, but it's overbought all the way through. On the weekly, overbought on the daily, but it pulled back, which is good. It was overbought, and the gap that it's trying to close, trying to fill a gap. What's the high right here? 186.63. Hmm. I I would wait till in phase kind of fill this gap down here. If you're going to try to, let me see if you put something else in there. So I would wait till in phase fills the gap down here, and then you look for another entry once it makes a recovery. Um, I, we're going to have our charting course on the 24th and 25th, and we're going to discuss entries on that, on the charting course. But I can't really do it over here. It just takes a little too long. But it needs to pull. It doesn't need to pull back. It's pulling back. You don't want to get in right now. It's a risk. All right, let's go to lemonade. Limonada. Same thing with lemonade. That's this is one of the perfect. This is a beautiful chart right here. You have a wedge break, or you can even just call it a pennant. Perfect. That's picture perfect. Um, that's the pole can be straight up and down, or it can be at this angle, and it pulled back to price support, price contraction, and then an explosive breakout with volume. Then profit taking, pull back. It uh, Lemonade has a lot of momentum. $161. Hey, baby. Ah, that entry is going to be tough right now. If you're long term, you do what you do. But I think about above like I I see it really to be conservative and safe above 164 or above like 161. You could look for that 162 right there. Yep, the high 162. That would be a possible entry for you. You can go in before it and trade it. It might, but if to get it needs to get above some previous resistance, and even in the pre-market, just to see. because now we have overhead supply, and it's or you just kind of wait. Uh, so Citron, uh, and the last one, guys. Let me do start. Let me do Microsoft real quick, and I'm gonna put my email in here, guys. If you have any questions, or if you know anyone who's interested in technical analysis or taking we have a course. It's gonna be the last one of the until the late fall because I'm gonna have to head out and I won't be able to do it. So email me. Let me put it in here real quick before I do this one. It's a 2-day course. Jay Ford signed up. A couple of students in here. Um, will get you in a good position to understand the charts and the technical analysis, and then get you in a good foundation to spot moves. And the idea is it's going to be continuing education. You're not going to walk out of there and be able to, just perfectly assess a move, but you will be in position to where you won't feel like you're underwater when you hear individuals discussing it, or you'll see a chart and you'll be like, that's overextended. I'm gonna back off, that kind of thing. So those are going to be the positives, and you'll be able to come out of there drawing up your charts. And it's I'm impressed with how we've run it. Let's see. I'm gonna remove this. Microsoft is in a trading range. It's kind of it's been kind of weird. That's not really an assessment to call something weird, but it has been. And I don't know any news, but look, I'm drawing up a horizontal channel. I could do it down there, here, but I think that's where most of the price action is right here. I mean, we have an anomaly, we have the outliers right there, but most of the taps are going to be right in this range right here. I think we're coming back down to this area, to the 208.50. And I I don't it's not a tradable stock right now. Now, what it is, if I'm a fan of, well, I've been a fan of Microsoft for a long time for the for I've been a fan of Microsoft for a long time for a long-term buy and hold. Now, I can't say it's consolidating for a major breakout, Dave, because this looks like a topping pattern. It looks like it's consolidating, and it may break through this support level and test these lows right here. These are previous levels. Microsoft may be consolidating to break down. It could break out. That's don't. You can't just predict that. It just does not look. It doesn't look good to me. It's not enticing, even though I do like Microsoft. Let's see what the weekly looks like real quick. If it breaks below these levels, like that 209, it falls below 209, and then if it sniffs down below 200, 200 should be the pivot point, guys. One of the pivot points of like, okay, watch out. It's 12 handles away from it, but I just, if you're long term buy and hold, you look out 5, 10 years and don't sweat what I'm saying. But if you're looking to trade it over the short term, there might be some volatility coming into play. Let me see if there's any news real quick, then we'll wrap. Uh, Microsoft. 5 biggest issues affecting technology. GitHub admits error in firing Jewish. Boy, they can get some racism going, can't they? Elon Musk, nothing. Oracle teams up, nothing special yet that I see in there that causes any concern. But pay attention to the news. You buy at the bottom of a range when it shows you an entry, but if it breaks through this range, be careful. Just be careful. Let's see. Yeah, guys. I hope tonight you enjoyed tonight. If this was your first run in here, thank y'all for coming in. let's see, I'm gonna shout at everybody. Got Aqua, CCL, Cliff, Crystal, Slater Hawkins. What's up, Danielle? Big Dave. We got Fonsec, Jay Ford, Jamelin, J. Alfred Prez, Jay Bullard, Candace. Hey, Candace. Fuel cell, real quick. Fuel cell. This falls right into the EV sector, guys. $15. Um, it's been running overbought and pulled back. You can't trade it. You just have to like it if you like it, because there's nothing on this chart that says, "Hey, let's get fuel cell," but the fact that you're in that sector. But look at this right here on the weekly. When you start seeing wicks on top, long wicks, letting us know the selling pressure is coming in. Sellers come from the top, pushing it down. So we might have a continuation to the pullback side. Um, I just, as far as the options go, I don't look at the option premium chart like this. I can just look at the grid, and we can tell, like, okay, it's bullish. 124,000 calls to puts right now. We'll go a little bit deeper. It's still bullish, and let's go with that February. See what it's a lot of people. I mean, like the 19. So the $20 call is getting some love. That's not that bad. That's a little bit out of this, 33 days, but I'd be, that's risking it. Try to go little bit closer to end the money. I wouldn't make the play on an option right now at all on this one. I just think a pullback's here, and I'd have to miss it. So I want to see it, see if this stops, if this reversal stops. There's support down here, 1355, a little support right here, 1424, kinda. It found, it's just a, here, let me go to the 4 hour and then I'm gonna shut it down. That support area is like 1444 to 1486 ish, and support and resistance. And then there's another level. That little area, this a region, 1350 right in there. That's some support area. And I'm looking back over here, guys. When I do that, support and resistance aren't exact numbers; they're areas. So it's like, you don't have to be perfect to the penny, but sometimes you are. Uh, so, guys, so you bought fuel cell at 1076. Perfect. And is that a long term play, Jamelin? I think you said it was. Oh, and you sold when it hit over 20. Oh, yeah, that's perfect, perfect, perfect move. Well, guys, look, the recording's there. I've recorded it. Thank y'all for coming out. I'll see y'all next Sunday. But if you want to get in that trading course, that charting course, guys, uh, give me a shout. There's still a little space. We're gonna cap it at a certain number, but there's still room. So I'll I'll see y'all next week. Well, markets closed tomorrow. I'll probably have the trading room open on Tuesday, guys, so y'all can check, and same. It'll be the same Zoom, same password, all that good stuff. And 777-9311. I know y'all know the song. All right, thank y'all for coming out.